everyone, I'm NewlifeOP586, and so I just watched the trailer, and in it I said I was working on a theory that was in direct correlation to it. Well, I'm certain you guessed this is that video. So I have 3 theories I want to tinker with right off the bat, and I'm just telling you guys these are a bit long, so feel free to grab a snack. Alright, jumping right into it, here we go. The first theory being, Dishonored likes the idea of killing the outsider a little bit too much. Okay, so you know when a gaming studio releases a game, they're excited for it, right? Well, naturally they would be. I mean, who wouldn't be? But here's the thing, the way that Dishonored are excited for Death of the Outsider is a little too much, and it's not even about the game per se. Yeah, I mean, the game, of course they're excited for it, but I feel like their excitement is geared towards more of killing the outsider. So I'm starting to put into prospect that killing the outsider might actually be canon. But wait a sec, ponder this, okay? So just hang a second here. This may be because they have a few other plans in the works at the moment, which is why they're so excited for it. Like, yeah, we're gonna kill him, but you guys don't know what's behind the curtain. We're already starting working on a 3rd game, or something of that nature. And by all marketing standards, what better way to reveal that they are working on a 3rd game, probably about the outsider, mind you, than to entice hype around the outsider. I mean, I mentioned in one of my prior videos that the Outsiders fandom is simply freaking massive, and they would make the most profit by selling to that part of the fandom. I'm just saying. Even in an interview with Harvey saying,
Dishonored, Death of the Outsider?
Yes, that's the name.
Were you aware that the Dishonored fandom has already decided the outsider is their boyfriend?
Yeah, I'm aware that many people claim that.
Like, honestly, there was a wail from behind me when that was announced.
But kind of funny because he seemed a little nervous about it. So, that being said, by all marketing and selling standpoints, what better way to get the hype up than killing the fandom's favorite character? A choice-based game where they will suddenly and quickly reveal like, ha! It was just a trick. Look at our game in the works, Dishonored 3. And it's all about how the outsider didn't die. And they just sit back and watch the fandom go batshit crazy. But on the flip side of things, at the same time, it could be canon, just straight up canon, that the reason why they keep posting and even reposting nowadays, we're gonna kill a god. We're gonna kill a god, we're gonna kill the outsider. And that's the only thing they're really focusing on, not even really Billy Lurk and Dowd. And instead, their main focus is killing the outsider. So it seems like killing him is probably what's gonna end up being canon or not. The flip side of the coin is very 50-50, fine line possibility, but there is room for Dishonored 3 if they so choose to focus on that and go on down that road. You know, if they decide to make a Dishonored 3, it would probably be focused around the outsider, and I think that would be interesting as hell. But at the same time, I mean, it's physically exhausting to see how enthusiastic they are about killing my ultimate favorite from my ultimate favorite video game series. Yeesh, guys. And another thing I've noticed is that the only response they've been getting from these posts that we're gonna kill the outsider on social media have been the ones from Team Outsider. Just jumping back to my marketing for the next game side of the line, aside from the occasional Team Whalers here and there, and now that everyone is coming out from the woodworks, why not be holding this vital piece of information from the fans? I know as a writer I would do the same thing, but to be honest, it is nice having a massive support system against killing the outsider. Okay, so my second theory that I have from the video, and it is that they are going to intentionally turn the outsider into an unlikable character so you agree with Dowd's plan, i.e. they're gonna turn him into an asshole. Something that I'm kind of actually physically concerned about. I know I talked about this in some of my live stream theory videos, but I'm also aware that not everyone can sit down for 4 hours to get all the information from them, or even care to sit down to watch a 4-hour live stream for that matter. You know, not that I blame you. So this theory actually deprives from the backstory and character that we do know went through this traumatic case of character mentality warp, quotes in the air. I.e. the writing for that character was botched in the poorest way, and the character that I am talking about is the one and the only Delilah Copperspoon, or Caldwin, as she would like you to believe in Dishonored 2. Delilah's character was actually really strong in the first game and DLC, see. We were only hinted at her dark past and the reasoning behind her mentality to desire to possess Kaldwin and to rule the Empire while creating the cult in the process. To note on her, I personally do not believe she was marked by the Outsider. As we can see on any of the Outsiders' mark that they have a mark on their left hand, something that can be seen even under gloves and clothing when it is being used. Something which Delilah prominently lacks. It even says in the Dishonored wiki that Delilah claims to be marked by the Outsider, though one cannot be seen. As well as Delilah's already inherently a witch. I mean, she don't really need the Outsider's help, and I don't think the Outsider would actually mark her. It's just a little too weird. Though I do believe that she may claim that she was marked by him because she may have heard of him and then become infatuated with him, and I think that's more of what happened than the Outsider actually marking Delilah. Anyhow, back on subject. So Delilah, as I said prior, was really poorly portrayed. Now, I am not sure if they were aiming for forced sympathy or the lack of, because aside from her power groping the Outsider, I generally wanted to murder the hell out of her. I did not like Delilah in the slightest, and the only reason why I spared her at all was for the clean hands achievement in the game, which was actually quite difficult to get because I go on high chaos on all my runs. So who's not to say they won't pull the same for the Outsider in the upcoming game? None. It is 100% possible to botch this character as well, making it so that the player will be persuaded to agree with Billy and Dowd. You know, even if you are a devout, long-standing Team Outsider fan, they may give him lines or make him say something that is unforgivable, and even if my killing Dowd theory is correct, they may use this to their advantage to sway the player to Team Billy and Team Dowd, splitting the two fandoms, pitting them against each other. In this analogy, yes, I am suggesting that Dishonored would be the Outsider in this case, setting up the chess pieces and sitting back and see who wins. And if they are against the Outsider, it could be that Dishonored, the writers of the game itself, could be on Team Dowd and Team Billy and be using their power to not so subtly remain neutral to this whole mess. What really bothers me about this particular theory, though, is newcomers to the game, where Death of the Outsider would be their entry point, where they would be introduced to the Outsider in a negative light. In this case, rather than remaining neutral for the player to come up with their own views on whether if they like the Outsider or not, as he had previously done in Dishonored 1 and 2. If the Outsider is portrayed as the villain and kills one of the characters that your main character, i.e. Billy, just spent a good chunk of the game searching for, it really wouldn't put him in a place to be neutral for the player, especially if the reasoning behind it is not explained, or if it was explained poorly, i.e. like how Delilah was, and it would put newcomers on board with Team Dowd and Team Billy. And as I said, even devout Team Outsider fans might be tested if this is done against his favor. And I swear, if they mess up the Outsider's character, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be downright livid. I can only hope that his character is preserved in that snarky, adorable baby whale god that we all have come to know and love, or hate, or don't really care either way. I don't know who you like in this game, not my place to say. And for theory number 3, my personal favorite is that the void changes war based on the Outsider's mood and emotions. Now, for this one, we can actually see this in a lot of evidence. For example, in the first game, it's very light. I mean, he's just doing as he does. He's very neutral. However, in the second game, the void is darker, a lot darker. It is jagged, it is rigid, and assumingly a lot colder than before. And throughout the visits from the Outsider, he finally tells you that Delilah is a part of him and he does not like it. And then he proceeds to give you pretty much an instruction manual on how to cram her soul back down her throat so you can kill her. In fact, he tells you how to kill her more than the clues in the game do. And then from what we see in the trailer, the void from Death of the Outsider is just straight up jet black. It is sharp. Kind of looks like it's gonna eat you as a scrumptious treat before dinner, not gonna lie. And there are a lot of people that seem to be, well, dead in the void. Let's not to mention that the void is contorted and it's pretty much absolutely livid. The void is pissed. And do you know who else would be pissed that a pair of assassins decided to storm down your door and stab you in the neck? Yeah, the outsider. He has every reason to be livid. He has every reason to form a and stab them right back. Firstly, let's take into account that the person that wants to kill him is someone that he isn't fond to begin with, and again, I don't know what happened between those two, but it was enough for Dowd to decide that he was going to kill the outsider. And in the DLC, you can see that the outsider doesn't like Dowd, and only deals with Dowd because he dislikes what Delilah was attempting to do even more. You can even read an overseer document about Dowd and rumors about him that read, a little girl was walking past a house when she heard arguing and a strained one-sided conversation going on inside. So whatever happened between them was enough to sever any bridges they once had, and I really hope they explain this so I know who killed whose puppy in the first place. Yeah, I'm not kidding. But nonetheless, their relationship, and I don't mean a shippy relationship either, but was seemingly good in the beginning, and then something happened and it was strained. They didn't talk to each other for a long time like an old married couple. The Delilah thing happened, they made contact once more, but it was under very intense stress. We don't know what happened between the first and second game when Billy finds him in the 2.1 game, as I started calling it, Death of the Outsider. They crossed into being downright enemies, and now they want to kill each other. Not fact on that last bit. I don't know if the outsider wants to kill Dowd, but I feel like he would if Dowd tried it first. But that to me seems like a really interesting backstory that has yet to be told. But now that his enemy has stormed down his door, yeah, the void is gonna look contorted and rigid, and that seems pretty accurate description to how the outsider is indeed most likely feeling. I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it, especially if you overheard it and then, you know, these assassins are trying to kill you. Anyhow, these are my theories from what I could pull from the trailer. Oh, and something that I spotted in the trailer but didn't really call out, but does anyone else notice that what I personally originally thought to be the library in the void has someone running across the bridge? And then I realized, but no, this library is not actually in the void, because when you look up you can see daylight between these two crevices inside this ravine, and that the chandeliers are actually being held up by riggings that are installed in the cliff wall. If this was the void, they would be floating, and so would the books, quite frankly. So I have to wonder, is this from the undisclosed location they were talking about? My sister and I are torn between Pandysia and Tivia, because if it was in Tivia, it would make sense to build structures underground to provide more insulation and away from the harsh, snowy climate that Tivia is. But it would also make sense if this was in Pandysia, because Pandysia is riddled with caves and people who dwell in caves. So it's really hard to know. It would make sense if it was in either location. So anyhow, these are my theories, and they should be taken with a grain of salt, as I could 100% be wrong on all accounts. Made for fun, don't take anything I say as facts. NewlifeOP 586, TheKingStudioz signing out, guys. Bye!